Okay. So, we're going to plot this data onto baskets is your Y. So, X, Y. So you can think of this first one as, if we were to write it as an ordered pair, basically 15 and 2. So we're going to go over to 15 and up to 2. And then we kind of keep going in that pattern. Over to 45, up to 2. Yeah. Over to 30, up to 5. Oops. 15 and 9. And then 40 and 1. 30 and 4. 10 and 10. 35 and 3. Over to 10, up to 8. And then over to 35, up to 5. All right. So, what kind of association? Positive, negative, or no?
Positive. No, negative.
Negative, very good, because it kind of goes... Right, if we were to kind of draw a trend line, that's what those are called, is trend lines, when we kind of make our own little line. Negative. All right. Are there any points that don't fit the trend, that are just way...
Yeah, 1 point. Yeah, 15 and 2.
Yes, perfect.
15 and 2.
So we call those... these are called outliers. So if something asks you, is there any outliers? Or what is the outliers? Oh, this one's kind of bright. Sorry about that. And yes, it's 15, comma, 2. You would write it like an ordered pair. Because it's not really part of the group. Okay, is there anything about this scatter plot that looks a little different than the ones we did yesterday? Yeah. Yes, they're in clusters, right. There's a gap right here. So you had a couple on your thing last night that was like, which one has clusters? That's basically it. So we call those clusters. All right, use the scatter plot to label each statement as true or false. As the distance from the hoop increased, so as we got bigger here, did the number of baskets decrease? Yes, right. We have, what you focus on is increase, decrease. Those are opposite. So for that to be true, my line has to be negative, which we already said it is. Okay, as the distance from the hoop decreases, does the number of baskets increase? Yes, again, they switched it on us, but we're not going to worry about the increase, decrease business, right? These are opposite, which goes with a negative line, which we've already said it is. All right, so quick definitions here. We kind of talked about them, but outliers is just one that does not fit the overall pattern. Okay, which player was the outlier? It was 15 and 2. What was his name? Jared. Good. Jared with 15 and 2. Very good. So you might have questions like that ask you kind of to like interpret the data. All right, clustering, when there are distinct or separate groups of your points. Okay, so you may see a question sometimes that might ask you like, why do you think that occurred, or why do you think that happened? My thought would be like maybe you had like one group standing close and then another group stood further apart, because there's like nobody that even tried to shoot at 20 or 25 feet, right? There's not a single one. So maybe they had two separate groups. Maybe they had one group up close and one group in the back. Anything kind of like that. Or maybe they need to practice at 20, 25 feet. So you may see kind of questions like that. And they're kind of up to your interpretation. Or usually they'll give you like a multiple choice. So you can kind of be like, yeah, that makes sense. Again, when you're looking at these graphs and stuff, think a lot of like kind of common sense stuff. They're not always as tricky as you might think. All right, so for the next part, I'm going to pause for a little bit and let you try to plot your own points. I'm going to do the first one with you because these are a little different. So this is your population in the thousands. So this 10 actually represents 10,000. This 60 actually represents 60,000. So it's still going to kind of follow your X and Y. So the first one being 76,000, it's going to fall in between the 70 and the 80, right? And then up to 19. So 15, 18 would be right about here. So everybody's may look just a tiny bit different because these aren't perfect points. But I'll pause and let you graph yours and we'll see if yours matches mine. Yours look kind of like mine. And these aren't perfect, so it's okay if yours are a little off. You don't have to erase them and fix them, as long as your kind of pattern looks similar. And then what kind of association do you think we have? Very good. If I draw my line like that, my trend line, it's positive. Do we have any outliers? Yes. 20 and 18. Very good. $20,000 and then 18. And if it, again, if it asks you for like an explanation, just think logically, 20,000, why would there just be a whole bunch of schools with 20,000 kids in it? Maybe it's like kind of an average, right? Obviously something with like 80,000, that's really big. 10,000 is pretty small, so 20,000 might kind of be like your average, and that's why there's so many over there or something. Like I said, the explanations can vary. When they give them to you, they usually give them to you in multiple choice. So read them and just ask yourself, like, does that make the most sense? Does the graph have clustering? No, not in this one. There's no gaps or groups. That's how we know. All right. Bottom, do the same thing, and let's see how you do with these decimals. So think about here, this is 2, in between would be 3, 4, 5. Okay, so that's what goes in between. So the first one being 16 days up to 5 1/4. You're not going to be able to be perfect about it, so just get close.